Ngayon naman, JC, pag-usapan natin ang very controversial issue at talaga nga namang unti-unti nang nakakamit ng taong bayan ang katotohanan ng humarap or mag-testify nga itong #1 whistleblower na si Ben Hurloy sa Senate hearing tungkol nga dito sa pork barrel scam. At para pag-usapan yan this morning, makakasama natin ang isang legal advisor, Cynthia Roxas. Good morning, Attorney.
Good morning.
Good morning, Attorney.
It's nice to be back here at Channel 4. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, Attorney, kahapon po present po kayo dun sa Senate hearing kung saan nga nag-testify na itong si Ben Hurloy. Kamusta po dun?
Well, it was something, yung mga tao in the beginning excited eh. Kasi we were only expecting, although they were in the list, si Secretary De Lima and all the other government officials who were invited. Nasa listahan yun eh. Though in the list was also the whistleblowers. And then as explained by Secretary De Lima, hindi sana niya palalabasin because of security considerations. Later on, siya mismo, binawi niya at sinabi niya the best person to talk about this would be Ben Hurloy. Pinabayaan lang siya eh, freewheeling in the beginning, di ba, magkwento. Kaya lang medyo parang hindi natin mag-grasp. Until such time, binago yung proseso, ang nagtatanong na si Secretary De Lima with the questions to Ben Hurloy. It was then, especially nung lumabas pa yung PowerPoint presentation, na naging mas malinaw sa mga tao. Nung una, medyo hindi ka panipaniwala eh. Alam natin may korupsyon. Pero hindi natin, when he was narrating his story, parang nag-sink in sa atin na ganito palang kalaki ang magnitude ng problema na to. It's not a small issue, hindi ba?
Attorney, may experience kayo sa mga witnesses. Ano kaya yung tingin ninyo sa testimony ni Ben Hurloy? Credible ba? Believable ba?
First, let's talk about what he said. This is the verbal communication, no? Sa haba ng naging proseso, I think he testified about mga 11:20.
Almost 5 hours.
Up to afternoon, no? So, kung titignan natin, kung magsisinungaling ka, you will go very general on some things that you will talk about. Pero dito napansin natin na talagang he was talking about details, he was very candid, everything was so spontaneous. So I don't think there's anyone in the body or anybody who was watching him yesterday who will doubt his testimony. So I think he's a credible witness insofar as those things that he mentioned are concerned.
Actually, JC, sabi nga nila, attorney din na ito daw si Ben Hurloy, happy whistleblower daw siya. Siya daw yung parang masaya lang, very cool, relaxed nung nagtitestify siya. At sinabi nga rin ng ibang senators doon na talagang credible at believable nga itong si Ben Hurloy. Pero, attorney, sa tingin nyo ba may bigger boss pa kay Napoles?
As he said, di ba, wala siyang nakikita. Meron silang mga kasabwat. So, hindi ko masasabing boss yun eh. Maaaring kasabwat. Ngayon, sasabihin ko sa iyo, no, yung sinabi mo kaninang happy, I think it goes into the way that he's being handled by the Witness Protection Program, no, under the DOJ. I guess it says a lot about that. He's more comfortable. Hindi na siya kasi sabi at risk daw eh. Kaya di ba may mga takatayo pa kahapon dun sa likod niya ng mga additional security personnel because there was raw information of a risk. So, makikita mo, nasa kampante na siya. He could freely talk about it. Wala siyang restraints because he felt at ease that possibly he was just telling the truth about the questions being asked of him, di ba?
Attorney, alam natin, magpa-file ng kaso ang DOJ. They're looking, or rather yung interagency commission on this. Pero ano nga ba, attorney, yung punto or ano nga ba yung aim nitong legislative inquiry sa Senado? Ano yung masasabi natin na punto na tapos na, no, or na-resolve na yung issue dito sa Senado?
I think dito, no, kaya nagkaroon ng fact-finding proceedings ang Blue Ribbon Committee because in aid of legislation. So tatandaan natin, yung ginawa ng Senado, hindi para mag-akusa o magsampa ng kaso, kung hindi, para kumuha ng maaaring mga inputs para sa batas na kanilang balak ipatupad. Kahapon, narinig natin si Senator Po na she was talking about a witness protection law.
Yes.
And we also know that because of the magnitude of this procedure, alam naman natin there are monies involved and inexplain how it starts from the legislator down to how it goes to the NGO. So dapat mag-boil down to sa mga tao, di ba? So makikita natin perhaps the Senate is also going into the legislative process kung paano pwedeng mapatatag itong pagbabantay sa pera ng bayan. So I think it's more that than helping in the filing of the case. That's only going to muddle the issue eh. So magiging limited. But whatever info that they get here, gagawa sila ng report, maybe they can give to the Ombudsman or the NBI to possibly help in the proceedings. But it's an independent thing, outside of the procedures being undertaken by the DOJ and the NBI in connection with the filing of cases.
Yesterday, isa po sa mga ni-raise ni Ben Hurlo yung hatian po dun sa PDAF. Ano pong masasabi nyo na halos 50% po ng PDAF ng mga mambabatas ang nakikickback po nila?
Sa atin bilang tao, mamamayan, no? Parang meron naman tayong perception ng culture of corruption, di ba? Pero kahapon, nagulat tayo that itong procedure na to, talagang he was talking about it. Parang SOP, he was talking of SOP, sistema na ginagawa nila na pag-offer. Sabi niya nung una, si Mrs. Napoles ang lumalapit at nag-o-offer. Bandang huli, may mga walk-in na tinatawag niyang clients, hindi ba? So, nakakalula, pero nakakatakot that they can even do it with such impunity. Ito dapat bantayan ng mga tao. Kasi, di ba sinabi na hindi lang 8 NGOs lang ang na-identify na kay Mrs. Napoles. What about the others in the COA report? So maybe there are more, hindi ba? Yun ang nakakatakot.
Actually, attorney, iniisip natin dito sa procedure na ito or yung SOP nga na ginagawa nila, ano kaya yung nakikita nating posibleng kaso rito? Malversation ba to? Or corruption or plunder ba? Ano kaya yung posibleng charges, attorney?
Secretary De Lima was saying na napakalaki ng amounts na involved. So, sa atin, meron tayong special na batas, yung plunder law, which involves monies in the aggregate amount of 50 million pesos or more. But na-mention din kahapon na even if it's a lower amount, kaya nga hindi nila alam paano gagawin sa pag-file ng kaso, di ba? Kasi some of the persons whom they intend to charge, hindi umaabot ng threshold na 50 million. So ano daw ba ang gagawin? Narinig natin kahapon Secretary De Lima doon. So even if it's still misuse of public funds, I think at the very least there's going to be malversation of public funds. And sinabi na rin kahapon na for any amount over 20,000, non-bailable pa din.
Okay.
So ito, attorney, mukhang tatagal pa itong kaso nito. Pero kung madadagdagan man ng whistleblowers, ay mas mapapabilis. Pero sa tingin nyo, tama po yung naging desisyon ng DOJ na by batch po ang pagsampal sa kasong ito? Scam?
I think it's a matter of legal strategy. Hindi lang naman ito para i-prosecute or i-persecute yung mga taong involved, no? I think Secretary De Lima is being very, very careful na dun sa kanyang, based only on the evidence within her power, dun siya mag-file ng kaso. And we remember, hindi naman porke nag-file na si Secretary De Lima ng kaso, together with the NBI, her legislative arm, automatic, sasampayin kaso. Hindi Dadalhin pa to sa Ombudsman because these are government officials involved. While it is true, Mrs. Napoles is a private individual, we have to take note that without her participation, hindi matutuloy itong misuse of public funds. So pagdating ng complaint sa Ombudsman, hindi automatic na masasampa ito. Sinabi rin ni Justice Carpio Morales, when the complaint reaches her, she will still exercise her discretion on whether or not isampa by then. Kasi kung kulang pa daw kung meron pa siyang kailangan i-clarify or meron kailangan idagdag or ipatawag, gagawin niya to under a preliminary investigation before possibly isampa sa Sandigan Bayan, which is the jurisdiction over these cases.
Attorney, do you think given yung evidence or given yung likelihood ng makukuhang evidence, meron kaya, will this be enough para ma-convict nga itong mga nagkasala?
Under the legal process, you have to take into account, meron munang finding of probable cause. So, according to Secretary De Lima, and you would have to trust her on this, the documentary evidence as well as the testimony of these witnesses, medyo madami na by itself, pwede nang isampa probable cause. Now, whether or not this is enough to convict, that's a different story. But I'm sure that the prosecution, she will really build her case, no? Para ensure na hindi masayang itong lahat ng ginagawa. Because this is going to be a long and tedious legal process, which is fair naman. Kasi hindi naman porke akusado ka, convicted ka na, hindi ba?
Right.
There's still a process na susundan dito. And we just have to trust si Justice Carpio Morales. These are very credible people involved here, no? Justice Secretary De Lima, Justice Carpio Morales of the Ombudsman, and the COA them in the IAGCC, no? So makikita mo ito tinatawag na three furies, di ba? Three very strong and credible women. So ang credibility palagay ko dito, medyo mahihirapan ng kung sinong defense lawyer na atakihin kasi mukhang there's probable cause.
Pero ito, JC, we don't have enough time, pero painit ng painit ang ating talakayan dito sa pork barrel scam. Pero ito, attorney, panghuli na lang, gusto namin malaman yung opinion nyo po dahil ito naman talaga ang punot dulo ng controversial issue na to, itong PDAF or itong pork barrel. Ano po sa tingin nyo, pag since kaliwat kanan na rin yung mga rally, prayer vigil, na ma-abolish nga po itong pork barrel, sa tingin nyo po, ano pa bang ibang way? Kasi importante pa rin naman ang PDAF. Ano po ba dapat? Ma-abolish po ito or ano bang alternatibong pwede pong gawin dito sa PDAF?
I think, sinabi na rin nila kailangan ng masusing pag-aaral. Hindi naman porke tinanggal mo ang PDAF, the problem is going to be erased. This is going to entail serious study, saan kukuha ng pantulong para sa mga tao. Those persons involved would have to study this issue and they will be studying this issue very well. In the end, ang kailangan natin malaman dito para sa kapakanan ng tao talaga, di ba? If it gets abolished, then, and that's the public clamor, nga mangyaring ganon.
Okay, maraming salamat, attorney, and we really hope nga na tuloy-tuloy ito at hindi masayang lang, no? Sabi nga ni attorney, at we really get to resolve, no, this issue.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, maraming salamat, and lahat tayo nandito para magbantay. And kailangan natin gawin yun na bantayan ang buong proseso na to para hindi naman masayang lahat ng to. Hindi ba?
Salamat, attorney.
Thank you so much, attorney.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yan po si attorney Cynthia Roxas, ang ating naging legal advisor ngayong umaga tungkol sa PDAF scam.